What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Becoming the 1% podcast. My guest today is Miles James Burris. He is an actor. He is a professional athlete. You guys are really going to enjoy this. You may have seen him in things like Lucifer, The Righteous Gemstones. Man, this episode was a lot of fun. Enjoy. What's up, Miles? How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. How you
Welcome.
Oh yeah, it was such a cool surprise little connection that we made a few months back when just on IG, and then finding out that you were here in town. It's just great. Now you're in town then for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Some of the events leading up to the Super Bowl, and did a little radio row yesterday. Got to do a bunch of interviews, meet a bunch of people. Was partnered up with a campaign called He Gets Us. It's like Jesus in the Super Bowl. It's a couple commercials where they're going to be sharing some of that. HeGetsUs.com if anyone wants to look more into it.
But pull that up. Now, is this, I only asked this because the God Squad, is this a sincere, like He Gets Us, like,
this is a sincere one.
Sincere one?
Not an irony like that.
It's actually good. That's a good question.
I just like was John, like, is this guy's thing? Like, all he does is name.
I've been on The Righteous Gemstones, Lucifer, and
That's right, you've been on Lucifer.
Wow.
I was an angel, though. I was an angel.
Yeah, well, of course. Of course.
I didn't know you were on Lucifer. That's cool.
Yeah. How many seasons? I mean, how did you get into that one?
I just a couple seasons. Like I think it was 3 or 4 episodes total.
It's awesome.
Just an audition, and you don't get most of them. You book some of them. And that was one of them. Yeah.
How first of all, how old are you?
I am 34.
Gotcha. How long have you been in? I know you're a professional athlete, which I assume came first before acting. Yeah. How long are you still in the league?
No, I officially hung it up around 2017.
Outside.
I played from I got drafted to the Raiders in 2012. Played there from 12 to right before the 15 season. So technically 4 years. The last one I was injured.
Okay.
I started every game I was healthy at linebacker, inside or outside, depending on the season. And got to live that dream. And then a knee injury took me out.
ACL?
I've got a slightly torn ACL, but it never did, and I never got that worked on. It was just a bunch of wear and tear, a lot of, some bone on bone spots.
Yeah.
Had a couple surgeries, and it didn't respond. It was like worse from the surgeries, and so yeah, I was kind of on one leg out there for a little while, and peg legged my way through it. It was fun.
Well, I watched in preparation for this, I try to do something for everybody. I watched your highlight reel. Of course, I went back and watched The Righteous Gemstones. It's really cool to have you on here, man. It's really great. I love seeing people who have figured out how to do it, like Dwayne The Rock. I mean, you do like a big sport and then you go into movies, you just diversify your portfolio. Yeah. That's really cool. And that's really important. And it's actually, it's super cool that you figure out a way to get out of the NFL semi-injury free while you're still young and immediately transition into an industry that you can do for another 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Honestly, it was the thing that helped me to move on mentally from the NFL, where it was, I wanted to play 10 years. I wanted to play a decade. I wanted to be an all-pro. I had so many things that I did not accomplish that I wanted to.
Sure.
And so that was tough. And I was depressed and in my feelings for a little bit. And then my wife was like, hey, get off the couch. Let's start going after this acting thing, because you talked about that.
Yeah.
Football's done. Go for it. And as soon as I got on a set, it was like that performance element. Action to cut. It was like, oh, football's behind me. You couldn't pay me to go back now. It's like I can love something like this and not get hit in the head. This is great. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Did anything in football prepare you for acting?
Yeah, the work ethic, the discipline, the drive, and the passion. You can't want something for somebody, so if the passion's there, you're gonna do whatever it takes and almost kind of enjoy it, even if it sucks, because you're getting closer to that vision.
The workouts too have to prepare you for certain roles, right? You definitely wouldn't made the God Squad without the NFL training.
For sure. Yeah, years of training under me in bulking, then you can just chisel it down. It's like, oh, wow, yeah, this works for film pretty well, too, aesthetically. And that's really my whole casting is based on I'm always playing a big buff dude somehow or some way. I get to play different roles, but the guy's got to be buff,
Of course.
And did you actually do any acting before, like The Righteous Gemstones, or like in high school or college or anything like that?
No. I never really considered myself a very creative person. I didn't think I would be into it.
Really?
The seed was kind of planted because in college they beat the hell out of you, training wise, and there's no NFLPA saying no more double days. They just grind you,
Where'd you go to college?
San Diego State.
Okay, very
Awesome.
cool. Wow, that is awesome.
Great spot.
Yeah, it is. I
Loved
bet it was a blast.
What weight were you sitting at in the NFL?
So basically, since I was like 17 years old, I got to my full adult weight, which was, at the highest I would be 245 pounds. But depending on the time of the season, and if I wasn't keeping my eating up, I would sway between 235 and 245, and that's still kind of the case. I'm probably 235 right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you cut down, when you go for a roll, like if you want to really lean down, do you drop even 10 pounds? I mean, you look like you stay pretty lean as it is genetically.
Yeah, I stay pretty lean. There's a certain point to where if I try to get very lean, I start sacrificing like comparatively too much muscle. You know what I mean? So it's like best for me is to sit right around 10%. What I would deem is probably 10% at all times, and that's where I can hold the most muscle. If I get it, I'll have to sacrifice a bunch of muscle to get into the single digits and lower down. So
how did your training transfer over from the NFL to acting now? Do you still have a trainer? Do you do it all on your own? Did you learn enough during your time?
Yeah, I learned enough during my time, and I was kind of a meathead. I was really into just all the weight room stuff, and I was always researching stuff and trying different methods and doing different things, and that's still kind of my process now. I'm not squatting heavy and stuff because I don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not an animal. I'm not gonna do this for fun. But I still train fairly similarly, the compound movements, and then you can isolate a little bit, throw it throughout and at the end, and try to keep some athletic movements in there too, to translate into just keeping the athleticism for film and whatnot. But I kind of forgot the question.
You're training as an actor. You're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
From what you learned in the NFL.
I got a garage gym also, nowhere near as cool as yours, but I got
Thanks, buddy.
And but dude, honestly, that was like, I knew, okay, as soon as I finally buy a house, we sat down.
Where are you at now?
In Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's
Very
so
cool.
cool, man. That's an awesome spot.
You're in all the Trinity spots. You got San Diego State. You got Nashville now.
And then he played
We're Gilbert, Arizona.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you're making it work. It's fun. So when the pandemic hit, I was in LA for a few years.
Oh,
I know. I hate it.
F that.
Yeah, the status game and everything. Oh, I hate it. We didn't fit there. And we always wanted to move to Nashville. We'd been visiting since like 2015. And as soon as I caught wind that auditions they went remote but might stay that way because the casting directors were liking it, I was like, all right, peace out. I'm going to live where I want to for way cheaper.
Oh, that's enormous, though.
Oh, yeah.
Just think about the people. Because up until now, it was, you want to be a movie star? Well, you better get your ass with little money you have and go to LA.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good for the movie
That
industry.
is.
Oh, it's so
I didn't
great.
know that.
Yeah.
That helps so much.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt anything career-wise because when you book something, they just fly you out anyways. They just bring you out.
Right.
I've been back to LA maybe a handful of times to shoot over the past couple years, and but most of the time I'm not shooting in LA. Like Gemstones was in Charleston, South Carolina.
I was going to ask, they got that whole Southern dandy manor type of vibe going on in that show. That ain't in LA.
No, and they shoot all their stuff out there. They got a big production company out there. Danny McBride, David Gordon Green,
Dude.
Jody Hill.
I'm a fan out here a little bit. I mean, okay, so on that show, who did you love working with the most? Let's start there. Who did you love working with the most on The Righteous?
Tony Cavallero and Adam Devine. All of our scenes were serving their storyline.
Sure.
With the muscle men were there for him.
Tony is the Satanist, right? The ex-Satanist.
Yeah,
that him.
Satanist.
He may be my favorite.
Oh my gosh, he's so funny, man.
He's hysterical.
The character he plays is indescribable, but it's super grounded and real at the same time, and it's just like he's so funny.
They go for it, and Danny McBride, he is a writer on that show, correct? Is it Danny McBride? He is a writer. Mm-hmm. His writing I have really become accustomed to, and I'm starting to, because it takes you a little bit.
Yeah. When
you first get into his type of shows, everybody saw Eastbound and Down, and we were like, well, okay, that's good, but who knows if he's got another one. And then he did Vice Principals, and you're like, okay, I'm starting to get this.
Tropic Thunder.
Yes,
cannot forget that.
You cannot forget him in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
But
he's
been
rewatch that. Oh, that's a good rewatch.
And him in that. Tuck and Kim got the blue balls. I'm trying to put Tiger Bomb on this jungle's nuts. He's got some of the best lines in that movie. But that is such a cool experience. Okay, so you get to, I mean, because all your lines are pretty much with the God Squad. How did you even hear that was even a thing coming down the pipeline?
My agent set me up with an audition, and that was cool one because that was the first job I booked right when I moved to Nashville. And
how far apart is help me out here, guys? Someone would know. Nashville to Charleston.
Charleston.
That's got to be kind of close, right?
About an 8-hour drive.
Oh, it's further than I thought.
Hour flight-ish.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so it was a cool project in that I was able to book that from home. You set up a tripod and an iPhone and get a reader, and you send a downloadable link.
What did you do? Did you flex for
just
him?
read the scenes. I can't remember. I actually read for the role of. They had all of the muscle men read for the same role, knowing they were going to divvy them out to different roles.
Yeah,
it was the
Torsten guy. Yeah, that
played
dude
by Brock O'Hearn.
Right,
he killed it in there. And so I read a couple of those scenes, and they're like, "All right, great. You're giving you a role. It's going to be for Titus." And then so they send you the scripts and look over them, and you're, okay, yeah, let's do it.
We did a trip out to Charleston probably like 3-4 years ago.
At least 4 years ago. Yeah.
I don't know how you maintain weight out there with the restaurant scene. The restaurants are incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the food was amazing. I think luckily on set, like, we're just doing meathead stuff in and out of the scenes, They got a bunch of wooden weights sitting around. We're getting pumped before scenes, and then we're working out in the scenes, and we got our shirts off the whole time. So it's like you're burning so many calories.
Yeah.
You eat whatever you want.
It was such a good fun. I just remember when it first rolled on it because I liked season 1. I did. And remind me, guys, before I go, you two, did you watch season 1?
I've seen season 1. Yeah.
Not season 2.
I don't think I've seen season 2.
Season 2 to me blew season 1 out of the water. Season 1 was good, but season 2, just everything, the overall story arc, the God Squad's a highlight for me just because I am who I am. But as soon as this will interest you, I wanted to make sure I brought this up to you. 2 episodes ago, we actually had Costi Hen on here. His uncle is Benny Hen. Now, Benny Hen, does that name ring a bell to you?
Yeah, traveling preacher. Right?
Traveling preacher, enormous revivalist, He is that character that they mock in season 2. The dark dude. The one he's now take it. The guy who's up there like doing his thing with the coat. I showed Costi. I'm like, dude, they're doing your uncle in this show. You got to watch this show. And he was like, oh, this is hysterical. What's the God Squad? I'm like, oh, this is this thing they made up for the show where these jack dudes go to schools and they keep kids off drugs and then preach celibacy. And he goes, that's not made up, man. They really had something like this back in the 80s. They had this bodybuilding squad of Christian men that would go shirtless. It was a real deal. I love this show so much. It seriously is one of my favorite television shows ever.
It was part of my research for the project. I was just going through all these YouTubes of that muscle group, dude. They would just go and do.
Do you remember what their name is?
Lift up their brothers and rip phone butts.
Yes. The blocks. What was Adam Devine's? He's talking to Torsten. He's like, Torsten's girlfriend gave him an ultimatum: his celibacy or his soul. I bet you know what he said. And he like breaks the block.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it was so good. And your particular character, again, it's so funny because you and we chatted a little bit, and I'm like, okay, cool. He's on the Oakland Raiders. He's an actor. This will be great to get him out sometime. Then I watched Righteous, and I actually rewatched it, and I was like, wait a minute. That's Titus. This. I gotta reach out to Miles. I didn't even know you were on this. He is my favorite. He's my favorite character in that whole squad.
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You know what it is too? I can tell you've got a real method to the way. You're not just a guy, because most of those guys they're just flexing. That's all there is. There's no real method to what they're doing. You've got the facial expressions down. You're kind of doing it like a Thad Castle kind of a vibe. It was a great character. I really liked it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How much of it, I assume some of it was ad lib, or was it entirely they gave you exactly the lines, and how much of that did you bring out? Because you had the scene, you're like, when I'm through manhandling that cross, did they tell you kind of what to bring out, or was that something you improv'd?
Yeah, actually it was. It was there's a lot of things that go into it. One, the people that you're working with, so the producers, and you don't really know. I didn't know anyways until I got to set, like how they do things. You kind of learn on the fly. Okay,
right.
Some people, they want you to stick to the page exactly, and when I got to set, I was noticing, okay, they're going through in doing everything in the scene, and they're you know, hitting their lines, they're hitting everything that's on the page because you have to, and you wouldn't want to mess up with what's on the page. Like, they're brilliant writing on the show. But
Right.
at the end of the scene, people would just kind of keep going and keep playing and like stay in the energy of it, and some really cool things would happen. And so there was that, but then there was also like, you're in a scene with Adam Devine, and sometimes he's gonna take a little curveball and he's gonna lay you up, and you got to be ready. So it was a cool feeling because you got to be on your toes. So
I could totally see him doing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, he's hilarious, and his brain just works like that. And so like you're like, all right, I got to keep up. If he throws me a zinger, I got to be ready, you know. And it's a little bit of a weird spot too, because like, you know, they're there every day. You don't want to show up and do too much, but
yeah.
I knew that within that scene, especially the cross-bearing scene,
Yeah.
you know, on the page, it's like, you know, he fails on the cross, they pick him up and they throw him in the cage or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, there wasn't a ton there, but I knew that that's going to be a whole lot. You know, there's going to be a tussle. They're going to be grabbing me. There's going to be dragging me over. Like, there's going to be.
You did a flip, right?
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah. I just did a whole bunch of stuff that was so over the top and extra, and, you know.
It was...
Because they totally would, as the muscle man, and he just
yeah.
does a flip for no reason to show off.
Can Jesus bench press
Yeah.
over 455 pounds? I don't think so.
Oh, man. Yeah, so that scene, actually, the setup for that scene, you're bringing back great memories right now. So we were doing the blocking of it, the rehearsal, and they're setting up the cameras, and so we just basically, the actors run through the scene, and the producers, everybody's just kind of watching so they can detail out where they want to put the cameras and what they like, and so we go through the scene. I wasn't supposed to say anything except, "Come on, brother Kelvin," and then he cuts me off, and then he's like, "You go bear the cross," in the cut, you know.
Yeah.
But he said something like, Adam Devine was like, "What, Jesus Christ bared the cross, and he carried it 2,000 feet."
Yeah.
He's like, "So what say you, Titus? Do you have the power?" Like, that wasn't on the page. He just threw it to me. And I was like, "Oh." And then everyone's looking at me like, "You better say something," you know? And the first thing that came to my mind was like, I bench press 55 pounds. Jesus Christ, bench press 55 pounds. And Danny McBride just keeled over and was laughing his butt off, and I was like, okay, that's the coolest thing that's ever happened in my acting career.
And you have a whole segue and monologue after they lock you in the cage too.
Oh yeah,
Because
I figured like they were kind of letting me. So on that rehearsal, I was just kind of ad-libbing. They're throwing me in, so I'm saying things, and then
yes,
I kind of went with it, and I was kind of self-conscious on the way driving home. Everyone loved it, and they're like, "Oh, you killed it," and everything. But I remember thinking, like, you know, I'm recurring this season. I come in and out. Like, I don't want to be that guy on the set that came in and like was doing too much. And then when I watched the final edit, they kept like 4 of those lines. So I was like, oh, I guess they liked it. You know?
Yeah. Yo, it's the very first time that the whole cross thing was introduced. Again, the entire movie is a religious and political satire. So it really, and I know obviously with you doing I assume you're a Christian. Are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Us too.
Yeah.
For me, and we go back and forth with this show, I tell the people that I recommend the show to, look, you have to sort of suspend this is a story about Christians that really aren't Christians, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're people that are taking advantage of other people. If you can suspend your, beliefs on that a little bit, I promise you're going to have a good time with this. It is truly hysterical. And the whole bear the cross thing, for the God Squad, as a punishment for disrespecting Kelvin, is the best part in the whole show, in my opinion. Season 2's the best. That's the best part of season 2. I pray they bring it back.
Oh yeah, me too. And man. It's like, to your point, they're not making fun of what people believe. They're coming over on the people that are using people.
Yeah.
In the name of
Jesus.
The name of Jesus.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's been going on since the dawn of Christianity. There's been false Christians.
Yeah,
this is making fun of people to it. And Danny McBride, again, his writing and how he has researched for the writing of this show. He has looked into, he knows who Benny Hinn is. He knows who each one of these prosperity. There is a fake, there is like a portal character for Ted Haggard, the guy who gets nailed with the hookers. They like in the beginning of season 2, that one guy in the meeting, he gets nailed with his wife with hookers. They're making fun of all these people who throughout the history of Christianity, which look, we're Christians, but I mean, you'd have to be moronic to not think that the history of the Christian church throughout time has not been without controversy.
Oh,
It has, it definitely has.
Yeah.
And it's great, man. So what would you say is next? What's a big goal you have? I mean, the door is now wide open. You have started off, and you've now been in what? How many shows have you been in now? Is it 4?
Oh man, I've been in several. I think last time I looked at my IMDb, I think I had like 20 different projects on there
Awesome.
over time. You know, different day players starting out, and now more recurring on shows. But I was on Safety. I was one of the leads in Safety on Disney Plus. The Righteous Gemstones, Lucifer, and then right now I'm on a couple shows. I played Triple H and NBC's YoungRock, and I
saw that.
I,
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
very
That's
cool.
great, man. That's
Yeah.
a great role to reprise.
No, that's a fun one, man. I get to put a big blonde wig on and
Yeah.
spandex and throw dudes around, whatever.
And for any of us, there's a guy who plays The Rock in that too. I saw, right? Is there? There's
Uli Latukefu. He's an amazing actor, and big dude too. He's like 6'6", 270.
Oh my goodness.
That is
Wow.
How big is The Rock?
I think
he-
The Rock's like 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
Yeah.
But he's
Look that up. I
he's
think The
probably
Rock's
also
higher than
about
6'4".
that height.
That's
I mean, about that weight. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. A little shorter than Uli is, but
and that's a show too.
yeah, that's a television show on NBC. It
On
also
NBC.
streams on Peacock.
Sick. I like Peacock.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably my favorite right now.
6'5". Let's see here.
I thought he was a little taller.
That might be his wrestling height. I think they all give themselves a courtesy inch or two.
That sounds about right. That's great, man.
Yeah.
So you, but if you could, I mean, what would you say is your goal? What's a role you're chasing after? Do you have one right now that you're chasing after? Do you have your goals?
Right now, I'm just taking auditions when they come in, doing my job when they do that. I see myself going down the kind of the comedy and action comedy route.
I see it too.
I love the physicality of things and doing the stunts and doing this, that, and the other. But comedy comes naturally to me, whether it's just as an actor on the page. I'm also a screenwriter now, so I just got an agent at
Nice.
Congratulations.
Literary, and he's hawking around one of my scripts that's gaining traction and interest, getting me some meetings. So
Tell us about it. Is it a television show, movie? What is it?
it's a movie called Toying with Reality, and it's about an unpopular 4th grade boy who wishes his action figure superhero to life to teach him how to become a man, and he has to learn the hard way that manhood is less about muscles and more about heart.
I like that.
So it's just a really cool, clashing of worlds, kind of genie in the bottle type. He makes a wish, and now here's his action figure, and he's 6'3" and 250 pounds doing life with him in his 4th grade life, And there's a whole bunch of just really cool comedy, but then just a whole lot of great heart-filled lessons as well.
Yeah.
And what it is to be a man, and so it's beautiful story.
You got a little guy of your own, don't you?
Yeah, that's my man Bo right
Oh,
there.
that's cool, bro.
Bo Burris.
That's very cool.
Just one?
I've got 2. He's 3 next month, and then I got a 7-month-old daughter. Tugging a tire. Cheetos are his favorite, and
Of course.
He's adorable.
he's my
Good
man
job,
right
bro.
there, dude. Thank
That's
you.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Did you, so when did writing take place? I mean, when in this whole transition did you? Because that's not something you just decide to do, or maybe it is. But why write?
Yeah, great question. I got into the acting, and I was booking stuff pretty quickly, and then realized, as every actor realizes, there's a lot of deserts between the stuff that you book, and so you start getting frustrated. Like, now I'm going on all these auditions, and the no is just you never hear back. And so I was like, well, I got to do something between jobs creatively, to keep me going. And so I just started writing, between acting roles and while I was auditioning, and realized I really liked it. It was a great outlet, but it also helped. It helped me as an actor as well, and it helped me to understand story better and to understand writers' intentions better and what's going on in the scene, who the scene's about. And so it's really a great built-in thing in my schedule, to where I'm training and working my craft when I'm writing, and it works my craft as an actor as well, because I'm playing all the roles as I'm writing it. And I'm playing different archetypes and understanding, how important it is to have clashing personalities.
How does he think, and how does this impact them? And
Exactly.
absolutely.
I have a question for you. So, did you actually write the character who's gonna that toy who turns into a real life? Did you write that for yourself? Like you would play that role? Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's the other piece of it I left out. Very selfish motive on the writing. writing myself into everything. Yeah,
just Goodwill Hunting that shit. Yeah, I'm so smart. No one understands me.
100%. Yeah, I would play him. His name is Duke Bailey.
I love it. That's
Interdimensional
great.
time traveling soldier, and Duke Bailey, man. So that's been fun, the screenwriting venture and being able to open up another lane within the same entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And on that note, I'm starting a company in Nashville called Hope Driven Entertainment, and the whole purpose behind that is to tell stories that are driven by hope, that leave people better after watching them, have more uplifted and encouraged and filled with hope. So yeah.
You're in an industry where it seems like the only time anyone ever talks about courage or being brave is if someone does something incredibly, I don't know, woke or odd, or performs a Satanist ritual at the Grammys or something like that.
Yeah.
It seems like actually this sort of mentality and this sort of angle is actually something that would be considered brave.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean,
wild.
do you find that now that you're in this circle of people that a lot of us don't really have that much interaction with, is it, I mean, without putting anyone on the spot directly, is it all incredibly woke central with only one? Is it as left LA thought process as it seems from the outside, or do you find that a lot of the people in the industry are actually very free thinking, very diverse, or does it all just lean in one direction like it seems to the public?
Audibly, I think it's on one side, but there's the more people you meet, the more you see that there are free thinkers, but if they have differing opinions, if they're free thinkers, most of the time they're smart enough to keep it to themselves, because you speak up and you have a differing view that then is popular in Hollywood.
Yeah. The deserts become even drier between callbacks. Have you ever heard of anything like that happening? I mean, has it ever happened to you?
No, it hasn't. And I don't know of anybody that I don't know of anybody that it's hurt really. Yeah. I mean, we all hear stories of who was the cast, the chick from The Mandalorian. She spoke out something about
Gina.
Karina. Gila Karina? Yeah, got kicked off The Mandalorian for saying something along the lines of "there's two sexes in the world" or something like that.
Okay.
And so, I mean, you're right. It's very evident that if you do speak out in the wrong way or on this wrong topic, you can be fired immediately.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important. I think it's pivotal that every industry have the ability for anybody to say what it is that they think. I mean, if we can't say what we think, we're no longer human beings. We are drones or slaves to whatever business that we're doing. But it seems like what you're doing is based somewhat in your faith or your belief systems. I mean, how important is that going forward in your career for you?
Yeah, I think, well, it's very important. I think the reason a lot of the stories that I write turn out that way, and look, you can get to a redemptive and hopeful place in a story, in any kind of story. It could be gritty and rough, and it can have a great message at the end of it. I think for me, that's mostly what comes out, because I mean, I think true art is created from like a subconscious level. So whatever's really deep within you, and that comes from your experiences, the way you came up, what your beliefs are, all those different things, that will come out naturally. It spills out. And on that note, it's like what you see in Hollywood now, is it's for entertainment, right? The
right.
Things, we're supposed to be entertained by the films, and the things that are winning the awards aren't necessarily always the Top Gun Maverick, or the things that are entertaining the most people and
sure.
most people love. It's the ones that are kind of preaching at you.
Servicing some kind of an
more
ideology.
of an agenda driven.
Agenda driven, which is annoying, because if it aligns with what the judges believe,
it may win.
Generally, it may win. Yet it didn't really have a huge market of people that even watched it, other than these cinephiles. And man, it's
if it's serving any political ideology in either direction, 50% of the country will hate it.
Yeah.
That's why it's not. That's why the movies that win half the people who see that they won and they're like, okay, why did it win? Why would I watch that? I don't like that on either side.
Yeah.
So that's tough sometimes. We were talking, it's been a long time since really, really, really good movies. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of good movies out there.
Yeah. I think a lot of the times I won't be able to explain it the way he does because he's a smart man, but Jordan Peterson was talking about
There we go.
art and how it is driven by the subconscious in a lot of ways, and I see that in film right now where like we were saying, the films they're being derived from an angle of telling you to think one way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the whole film is it's starting with the narrative, it's starting with the theme or the thing that it's trying to bang you over the head with, when really it's like, no, just let it unload on the page and let the story come out and let it be driven by your subconscious. And you go back later and you're like, this is the depth. When you dig underneath it, it's like, oh my gosh, the thematics are so strong. I don't know, that's the place I try to run from. I mean, sometimes you have something to say and you find a creative story to, tell that theme. But yeah, interesting.
One story we were talking about we'd like to see, like a feature film eventually, would be like George Washington. And I don't think there's really anything out there like film-wise George Washington. It would be really cool because it's such an American story. It's such a great story, I think, to be told. I've read his biography, and just what's in there, what people wrote about that guy, man. He was like just a completely different level of soldier, statesman,
Leader.
Farmer, leader, innovator, like how he started rotating his crops, he was just so ahead of his time. I think it would be an awesome story to tell. And I think, especially in this country, there's so many people that would resonate and love that story if it was told the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That's funny. I was trying to scan my brain. Like, I've never seen a George Washington project.
No.
Of any sort.
And isn't that crazy?
there's a
Because
few,
he's the
very
founding
first
father. He's the
president ever.
he was the
Yeah, no, it's true.
the leader of the military at the time. He didn't want to be president. They made him be president.
Really?
I mean,
Twice?
he
Yeah,
did
no,
not
dude.
want to be president at all. He wanted nothing to do with it. And they're like, "You're the guy. You're gonna do it." And he's like, "All right, I'll do it."
He didn't
So-
even want to be. I didn't think he wanted to be the general either.
No, he wanted to be remembered as a farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coolest, most James Dean way into presidency.
Fine.
Fine.
Again? All right. I guess. There's a lot of stories like that it seems like just low-hanging fruit would be incredible to tell. There's a lot of stories in the Bible that I think would be incredible to tell that never get brought to the light. Don't even need to go into the reasons why. They aren't brought to the light. Why haven't we ever seen a King David story? Why in the world is there no movie about that ever?
Yeah.
Never been one. I've never seen a King David movie. It's one of the craziest stories in the Old Testament ever told.
Yeah, that would be a rad one.
Oh my
Especially if
goodness.
you could get
Saul.
It would almost be better as a show, right? Where you could do episodes. I feel like because there's so many parts to it. Yeah,
It could even make a Game of Thrones style. Like, it could be like very inappropriate, very violent. Like, it could appeal to pretty much across the board.
Oh yeah.
That's true. That's
You
true.
can't- I mean-
you couldn't put the Bible in a movie and not have every disaster every single way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the everything, the plagues, the warfare, the orgies, the everything. There's so much in the Bible about the people and what happened.
Yeah.
And in King David, I mean, you could do the life of that guy. How many books of the Bible is that? Is there one or two?
What are you talking about?
How many books of the Bible is King David encompassed in total?
Costy?
We need Costy back in here.
You've got. I don't want to list.
I don't even want to guess. Can you Google that?
Yeah.
How many books? How many
Well,
books of
the Bible is just one book, so
Right, but you got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. The
How many
books
chapters
of the Bible?
The
How
books
many
of the Bible,
chapters?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah. Right.
joking.
Yeah.
So while he's Googling that, I actually had a question for you, and we've kind of asked this question when it comes to like the actors that we've had on. If you were going to play a superhero, whether that's Marvel or DC, we'll focus on Marvel just because the room.
Henry Cavill just got fired. Don't name it just to Marvel. Come on, bro. Do Superman. Oh, seriously though, what the, bro? Try to get Superman.
So he got fired, but then he got like rehired. Do you know anything about like? Is he like Superman
Cavill?
now, or
I don't know.
Is he Witcher? Who knows?
well, the last I'd heard, you're right. He was like not Superman, and then
He quit The Witcher. he quit.
Yeah,
and
he
walked
quit
off.
The Witcher because I guess they said DC said, yeah, we're gonna bring you back as Superman. So the studios told him, go and make this big announcement. You know, we want you to put it on your social media. You're Superman, and so he did, and everybody was ecstatic. And then like, I think like a week or two later, because they had hired James Gunn to be head up DC,
Right, yeah.
and James Gunn wanted to go in a different direction, and then they fired him. Yeah, they wanted to, which I disagree with. I think Henry should still be Superman because he's a great Superman. He's got a built-in fan base. People love him as Superman.
Yeah.
But they also could have explored things with an older Superman and got into, you know, different villains and different fights and things as an older Superman that they've never really done on film before.
Sure.
I get it from like, you know, if I was a new guy heading up DC and they want to do Superman their way, they're likely trying probably to get a younger Superman who's awesome and that they can have like a Wolverine situation with, where they got him for 2 decades and that's their guy.
Keep him young.
Yeah, you know, but that's a risk because you don't know if people are going to like that Superman. You don't know
Right.
if people want to see the same young Superman all over again. But they might have a twist and an angle on it that's interesting.
If they're going young, man, you have got to have your people reach out to their people in some capacity.
That's the crazy thing. I don't think. Yeah, I'm probably not even that much younger than Henry was. I mean,
No, Henry's in his 40s, bro.
oh yeah.
Oh, I think so. How old is Henry Cavill? I'm sorry, I just had you look something up.
Back to the David thing real quick. He's first mentioned, it says in 1 Samuel, and then it goes through 1 Chronicles. So that's
2 Samuel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So six
chapters in the, or six
The
books in the
books
Bible.
of
Yeah.
Bible. Crazy. So, how old is Henry Cavill? I am thinking he's in his 40s.
I'm guessing 38.
38.
You have a guess?
Probably.
Well,
yeah,
Superman don't age.
39,
That's
30
the other thing.
39.
If he wanted to go
39.
older, that wouldn't make any. He's 39.
I don't know. I'm
Oh,
looking
you're
at
guessing. If they wanted to go older, it wouldn't make any sense because Superman doesn't age. He stays the same.
39.
That's true.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
He stays the same all throughout his existence once he reaches manhood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they want to
That
go,
makes sense,
they want to
then.
go younger. Call them.
Seriously.
Because you are younger. But that's tough. Does that, I mean, life as an actor, even life as an actor at that caliber, I mean, is this how it goes? Can the studios just kind of dick you around and you're like, hey, make this big announcement. Hey, guess what? You're fired again. Like, that's just kind of how it is?
Yeah. I mean, I've only been in it for a handful of years, and you just see so much stuff that doesn't go your way. You get a lot of rejection. You see everything, and so it almost doesn't surprise you anymore. Where even like, you know, with somebody as powerful as Dwayne Johnson, like he's probably the most powerful guy in Hollywood, or one of them. Maybe Tom Cruise is more, but even he's not getting a sequel at DC. From what it sounded like.
Oh, for Black Adam?
that they're moving
Thanks.
on for
We
Black
appreciate that, actually. That shit was annoying. Anyway.
Yeah, the studios are pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how, I've always wondered how I mean, do they can't make these decisions purely off Rotten Tomatoes or purely off box sales. I mean, I wonder how they decide, like, oh, Black Adam's not getting reprised, Henry Cavill is, or oh, surprise, no, he's not. There's gotta be some kind of a metric.
Yeah.
Be interesting to know. And it's obviously not one guy's decision. It's got to be a whole group of people that decide we're reprising. Part of me, I like it. I don't hate the cast of DC so far. It's not the cast.
No.
You know, Gal Gadot's great. Like, I don't think anybody in this room has a problem with her as Wonder Woman. The writing is the problem. So they fixed that with James Gunn, or it seemed like they did.
Yeah.
But what now? They're going to fire everybody and start all over again? A new Aquaman. What the hell are they going to do? You can't get rid of Jason Momoa.
Yeah. Well, I heard they're going to just shuffle him over to be Lobo, which is also great casting for Lobo, but...
Why am I blanking on who that is?
Lobo's... I don't even know how to explain it, but he's kind of like a gruffer...
He's in DC, though?
he's a DC character, yeah.
Just messing with us. They're like, oh, he's not. He's him now. Which I guess, I mean, you guys are you're actors, so you can chameleon your way into any role. At least you should. But
Yeah, I could be wrong on that, but that was one of the rumors I was hearing. Lobo's a character.
but I did cut you off though. If you could play one superhero, because I'm willing to bet the opportunity will present itself in some capacity. You're built for it. You've got the physique and the face. What would you do if you could?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I'd love to get a hack at Superman, and just I think the casting fits and works. I was actually gonna play Superboy at one point, but like a young adult Superboy. There's that show. What's that show called? The
Supernatural?
Titans. It's
Teen Titans. Is that it?
Yeah, but they made like a more adult Titans for DC. I think it streams on DC something or other.
Gotcha.
Anyways, at the end of one of the seasons, they were casting for. They didn't name it that, but then you find out later that that's what they were doing.
Oh, very cool. That's Lobo. This is that is.
Oh, hold up, let me go back.
I've never.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's Lobo
familiar
right
with.
there.
Yep.
I mean, it fits. It
Yeah.
looks exactly like him, sure, but
he
I don't know who he is. Is he a villain?
I think he's like an anti-hero.
Oh, okay, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I obviously I love the idea of action comedy for you. I think there's a big, broad
Yeah.
number of roles you could do with that.
Right, which is cool about the Marvel universe because they do a great job incorporating the comedy within their films. And,
They do.
And it'd be fun. I'd love to play something that is a little more comedic, but Superman is just so iconic and just that kindness and the heart and I don't know. It'll all be fun.
It seems like with your writing, it would go hand in hand with what you already like to write.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to see you write for a Superman story. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be outstanding. Is there any stories that you really want to tell? Anything that you've thought, hey, why hasn't this ever been shown? Or do you entirely write entirely just from your imagination? Or do you sort of reprise different stories and tell them in a different way?
Yeah, mostly. So it's called writing on spec. When you write something, you're not being paid for, but it's not a pre-existing IP. It's just your own idea, and I'm gonna make this a movie and just write it out, and then you try to shop that around.
Yeah.
So I've written my first take and angle on a mixed martial arts movie, where most mixed martial arts movies, and there hasn't been a ton of them, but they're always very dramatic and gritty. You think of like Tom Hardy movie. What was that one called?
Warrior.
Warrior. He fights his brother.
Yep.
That's
Never
that's
Back
most-
Down. That was kind of a shitty one, but it's the same thing. Yeah.
They're all very serious. and,
Southpaw.
like,
That's a
dramatic.
good. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that movie is
I
intense.
love that movie.
I love that movie too.
Yeah, but I wanted to. I wrote a movie, and it's gonna be. How do we even explain it? But I want to take a more comedic take to it. Obviously, it's gonna show you the realism of just that world of mixed martial arts and the roughness, and they're modern day pirates, and they're super rough around the edges, and then you throw almost like a Forrest Gump type character in there, and who's just stumbles into the world of mixed martial arts and is the antithesis of everything that a mixed martial artist should be, other than athletically. And he picks up the sport and has this like unconventional rise in the heavyweight ranks, but he's just a complete idiot. And like, like he hates fighting, but he's whooping ass and hating it and crying, and everyone loves him.
I love it.
And, he just like telling people he loves them, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? What's wrong with this guy? Dude, get him out of here." But he's so good. I don't know what to do with him. So just the clashing of worlds, kind of that fish out of water feel, and the full triumphant situation. I wrote a take like that, and I'm considering a rewrite, making it more of like a buddy comedy between his trainer and him. But
is this another role that you envision yourself in?
Yeah. I've started to get really into just MMA as a sport. Typically, like I don't play football anymore, so I can't play it. So watching it's not as interesting for me. But I do a little bit of mixed martial arts and just really enjoy the sport. Like just one thing, just like boxing alone, there's so much you have to remember and be unconsciously competent. And when a punch comes this way, you duck and then there's jiu-jitsu and there's Muay Thai, and all these guys are doing all of them in one and having to be completely empty in their brain and just know what to do instinctively. It just blows my mind when I watch the sport now.
Yeah.
Just doing one of them, I'm like overloaded in my brain.
Yeah. We had Elaine Ganali was in our podcast maybe 3-4 episodes ago. He's the 5-time world champion judo. He's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a 5, and he's a 5 simultaneous black belts all at the same time. He's 47. He's a freak daddy athlete. I've never seen anything like him in my whole life, like of any age. Not even you.
Dude.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So you could go so far with that. If you want to, would you ever actually compete in it?
No.
Would you do?
No. I've taken enough beatings in my head. You gotta really. That's the thing. Like you gotta really, really want it. To do a combat sport. Like the beating that you're taking. The stars that you're seeing after hits. Like all that stuff. When I was playing, it was like no. compartmentalize that. I'll deal with my brain later. I'll think about that later. I love this too much. I got to do whatever it takes to stay focused on this and not freak out about anything else. I love the sport so much, and I want to be successful at it that I can't focus on any of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it's like, to think of how much I gave to the sport and how much I loved it and what a toll it took on me. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that again. And it's not in mixed martial arts, especially not at 34 years old. So I respect the heck out of what those guys do and that lifestyle and the uncertainty within it. And they're just hitting each other in the face every day and just hoping they can get the next fight and hoping that fight can give them a little more clout to get to the next level. And it's just, it's tough, man.
Yeah. And after your time in the NFL, I mean, I know you had dreams to do 10-year. I know you had dreams to go all pro and everything, but I mean, we've got the family friend. We know Sean Patterson. He was in it for, was he in it? Do you know? I believe it was 8 years he played for the Green Bay Packers. And just seeing what that guy's had to go through now with all of his CTE and all of his injuries as he's aged, be thankful you got out with where you're at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're cognizant of what's going on. You don't have any long-lasting, perpetual injuries, knock on wood, that will ever, come back later on.
Yeah.
So I get it that look, we've all got dreams, but be thankful that you still got your health, you still got your youth, and you can do all these other options are now available to you where they probably wouldn't be at all. You wouldn't be able to just even recreationally take on martial arts if you played for 15. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady's not going to go do jiu-jitsu when he's done with this. How he's still there, I don't know. But yeah,
that's a great mindset to take with it. It's so true. I got a whole lot out of the sport and out of the game, and still got my body as well, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely, bro. That's awesome. So where can people, if they want to find you, where can casting directors contact your agents? Where do they go for that sort of information?
All my contacts are listed in IMDb. I'm with SDB Partners and Weiner Management on the acting front, CAA on the literary front, and so they can reach out to me there. I'm at Miles James Burris on Instagram, at Miles James Burris on, I think, TikTok. I just started one. And then
nice, bro.
What else is there nowadays? I don't even know.
Those two are good places.
I
would one thing, I mean, if I could leave you with one piece of advice personal expansion in a professional manner on any plane. And I really believe this. I believe that social media is today's variation on a resume. And if you are looking to, for free, you don't even need any money. If you are looking to expand you as an entity, as a business, or as a person, take that to the next level. You hire a PR rep to do more social media for you. There are certain ways that you can use that to extrapolate the brand that is you without you ever really having to do much more of anything.
That'd be awesome. I'd love
social
to pick your brain more on that later.
Yeah. Social media is powerful. Without social media, I mean, this conversation wouldn't be happening without social media. So very powerful when done right.
Yeah.
So awesome, bro. That was super fun.
Thank you.
That
so
was
much,
awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Eli, we good? We'll cut it there.